Atari games. Lots of excitement here. Stiff competition in basketball. They have the jump on Skydiver. The human cannonball can't miss.
This is where the key moment in video games kind of comes in, is that you can have the greatest system in the world, but it's the game that people want, the killer app. That's what you have to have. You have a great system like the Sega Dreamcast. If you don't come up with a game, the people have to get that system. It can be a great system, people aren't going to buy it, it's not going to fly. So the Atari 2600, the problem was it was good, it had some great games and everything like that, but it didn't have that one that everybody wanted.
1980 is when it explodes.
Boom!
And this was the boom year.
Why? Space Invaders. It gets Space Invaders, one of the biggest arcade games of all time, and certainly the biggest at the time, on a home console.
And for the first time, Space Invaders.
Like, we could play Space Invaders at home?
So bringing that game over to North America was just, it ranks up there as like some of the smartest decisions ever made in video game history.
It quadrupled their sales, and it put Atari on the map as one of the fastest growing companies ever in the history of ever.
Suddenly, everybody's got to have an Atari, right? And the cool thing is, for Atari, that all of the games that they already had out, the current library, well, suddenly all these games are flying off the shelf now too. So games that have already been out and have already been sitting on the shelf suddenly start getting sold just because everybody now owns the Atari so they could play Space Invaders and they want some other games to play.
And now they're really starting to get their feet wet and putting out games. They had Adventure in '79, and they have some other fun games that came out in '80 like Fishing Derby, where you fish.
Bob Whitehead, who had pioneered making larger objects, like his boxers, stepped over and he said, you know, I could make you a shark for the top level. And that's what really turned it into a game, where the shark had like AI and he would go after your fish and you had to figure out a way to beat him.
And you have boxing, which is an overhead like this, it's like this.
It looks
Deal
like,
with me, Bean.
It looks like two crabs fighting.
Two
It's
crabs
basically
fighting.
what it is. Two angry crabs in a ring.
It basically was what won them that first console war. Okay, that and Fishing Derby.